welcome back. My very intrepid true heroes of the land who hide in bathtubs and get thrown in jail. Meklaresh, Garish, welcome back. I know it's been a very long time since we played. I'll try to keep my recap as brief as possible. After defeating the infamous two, the two of you were thrown in jail and unable to persuade the guards of your innocence. You were instead given a deal to deliver a package to the town of Crescent Ridge, just on the desert edge of Malia, sort of an in-between area between the two nations, not claimed by either, for it doesn't have much fertile soil and not much strategic value unless the two countries were to go to war again. But since the peace has reigned for so long, the two nations have kind of set the area to be no man's land. That being said, the package the two of you have shoved away into your bag of holding, and then traveled along the roads, finally leaving the King's Road and making your way towards Crescent Ridge proper. And I believe at the end of the last game, the two of you had just seen the town just crest over the horizon. I believe it's around midday at this point. But before you, it's a little bit off in the distance, but with your passive perceptions, you guys can kind of make out what appears to be two rows of buildings, kind of like Wild West style. And then off, maybe hundreds of feet off in the different directions, you see smatterings of smaller houses. They're like kind of scattered and disconnected from the main thoroughfare.
Do you think I can get a 10-gallon hat?
I hope so. Well, you're driving this wagon.
I'll continue approaching.
Okay. The two of you continue, little by little, arriving in about another half an hour's travel, as it's still quite far, even though it was just on the cusp of your vision. But as the two of you pull into the small town, there's a handful of people milling about. There are some people that have, 10-gallon hats on. There's a handful of people, just kind of going about their daily life. There's a woman with a long stick with two pails on each end, kind of carrying the pails over and disappearing into a nearby building as you guys approach. What would you like to do?
Well, are there any buildings that might give us lead on where to deliver the package?
Make a perception check. As you kind of glance around and look at the different options that are available to you. Looking around, you don't see any buildings that seem to stand out any more than the others. Directly to your right, as soon as you entered into the main thoroughfare, you do see a sign that says the Shod Skull Tavern. But other than that, there's a handful of signs further down the way, but you can't quite make them out from the sun kind of hitting you directly in the eyes.
Well, I guess, tavern might be a good place to start. We can ask some questions. Maybe, rent a room. We've been on the road for, a while. And we can try and find stable lodging for Buttercup as well. If we're going to be around for a little while. Hate to leave her unattended. Want to pull up on the tavern?
Yep.
Okay, so you pull the carriage next to it. You see several tie-off points for horses. There's actually two horses outside at the moment that are kind of tied up and just drinking from a trough that's full of clear water. From inside, you can hear the sound of voices as the doors are kind of those Western-style doors. They don't quite go all the way down to the floor. But you hear voices inside. You see what appears to be the flickering of candles in the interior as you kind of glance toward some of the windows on the front side. Make your way inside.
Yeah, I'm just gonna tie Buttercut off and give her like a pat on the nose.
Sure. The first thing you notice as soon as you push open the two double doors is across from you inside the tavern is a massive skull, probably 15 feet high, that is kind of encompassing the top of the bar where a woman sits polishing glasses watching the rest of the people that are there. Inside the bar, you see several patrons. Some of them are talking. Almost all of them turn and look at the newcomers who have stepped inside, but maybe just watching their backs, nervous, or what the goings on. They just simply go back to what they were doing before, chatting around food and drinks around the countertops.
I assume like the only person I see that seems like they work here is the bartender.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll make my way down the center aisle, stepping around this guy, and make my way up to the tavern keeper and be like, "Hello."
Sure. Like I said before, most of the patrons pay you no mind. The people who are to your, who you passed by that table that has three people that appear to be like guardsmen, you overhear as you pass by. The one that you have to like kind of shove by stands up when you get nearby and slams his fist on the table and he goes, "Damn it! I told you I saw it. I saw it out there. I know it was there. I wasn't drunk. I saw it." And then you kind of like are like, okay, and you just keep going past him to the counter. You
I
folks,
keep my swag.
you folks new in town?
Yeah, we just rode in. We're actually looking for the mayor. We didn't see much in the way of signage, so we figured we'd stop in and ask.
Well, mayor might be a strong term for him. But it's about three buildings to the north of where you're at now. She kind of gestures with her right hand outside. That's where he's at, but if there's anything else you need, let me know. We got drinks, of course, food if you're hungry. Maybe some beds available, possibly,
Oh.
if you're looking to stay the night.
I was just about to ask that. We are looking for lodgings, and we do have a horse. Do you have a stable?
We got some places you can tie her up at. No stables out here. Most people usually keep their horses pretty close and don't usually leave them overnight, but for a fee, I could probably keep an eye on it for you.
Oh, that would be fantastic. How much do you charge?
Uh, she kind of like does some rough math in her head, and you can see she's kind of counting her fingers. 2 gold for like a couple days. I could probably do that. Wouldn't be too bad.
And how much to rent rooms?
It's 3 gold a night per room. And she kind of looks behind her at the keys. 3 gold a night for 1 room. And she points to the singular key that's hanging up. It's got 2 beds in it, if that helps.
Oh, that'll be great. And I'll just turn to Garish and be like, "How long do you think we'll be in town? Did you want to stay for a day or two? Rest up a bit?"
Can I roll for insight to see if this is hackleable?
Yeah, you can make an insight check. Looking around, you don't see anywhere where the room prices are posted, so you think you might be able to haggle her down. Like behind her, you see like drink prices, like there's like a bunch of drinks that are listed, like in like a drinks menu, and then there's like lunch and then a price, and then dinner and then a price, but nothing like food listed there. But you don't see anywhere for lodgings, so you don't think it's like a fixed set price for it.
What is the price range of the drinks we can see?
You can see anywhere from like 2 copper up to like 3 gold, but the 3 gold is like a bottle of wine. But it ranges anywhere from that range. Like it's a pretty wide range. And as well as there are some non-alcoholic drinks on that menu as well. You see like apple juice, and that's like four copper, which is more expensive than the beer, but that's because of the location.
I wonder if we can haggle for 3 gold a week, but we need to determine how long we plan on staying.
Well, it's 3 gold a night.
Is it a few nights, right?
No, that was to watch Buttercup. 2
Ah.
gold to watch Buttercup for while we're here. It's 3 gold a night for the room.
We can ask for 2 gold a night, plus whatever she asked for Buttercup. So that's not a usual request, I suppose.
Well, this is your rodeo. You phrase it, you haggle it. We're both equally charming.
That's true. Maybe we should start by paying for 2 nights.
Okay, yeah. Did you? So you want to try and haggle for 2 nights?
I assume that the two of you kind of like heard the prices and then like turned and are like talking back and forth quietly and not saying this openly in front of her.
Yes. That would be preferred.
We can offer 4 gold for 2 nights here, plus 3 for Buttercup staying.
So you could pay more for Buttercup.
I think
More?
we can. I think we can swing that. It's not exactly like I got people jumping down my throat for the room, anyways. So yeah, that'll work out. 7 gold for everything.
Okay, 7 gold it is.
How long are you two
I'll,
planning on staying here? Just a couple nights, or maybe longer?
Just 2 nights for now. We're not certain how long we'll be staying, though. With that, I'm gonna take the haversack off my back and reach in and start fishing out the 7 gold for her.
Sure. What are you actually paying her? Copper, silver, gold?
Jeez, as much as I would love to put down
700.
a pile of copper.
We should just do pure gold for little.
Yeah. Well, I was
Gotcha.
thinking of putting down. It's 10 silver to the gold, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was just gonna put down 50 silver and then 2 gold.
All right. She'll happily accept it, and she turns and grabs the key off the hook and hands it to you.
If we find work, we might stay a little longer.
All right. Well, sure. There's always something going on. She kind of looks around the room. And she kind of gestures towards an elven girl who's sitting, she's wearing a brown leather duster. On her side, you can see a short sword, kind of placed on her side. That looks a little ornamental. Other side, this side of the room, near the stairs. As well, she also has a like 10-gallon hat on. Like she's got a big fucking hat on. And she seems to be looking over some type of papers that are like on the desk, as well as you can see what appears to be some sort of like half-broken ceramic cup, as well, sitting next to her. And she like every once in a while, she picks it up, looks at it, turns it over, sets it down, and like jots some more things down. The bartender looks over to you and says, "I think she might be looking for help with some stuff. Don't know. She's been hiring people in the town for the past week or so. Might be something you two might be interested in, but it's up to you." Past her, she kind of gestures with her hand. Last room, all the way at the end of the hallway.
Oh, thank you kindly.
These are the stairs. The upstairs are not shown. Anything else you need? Just let me know.
Yeah, our horse and our carriage is hitched out front. Do you need us to move it somewhere? Just let us know.
Just bring it around the back. You'll see a feed trough back there. I usually keep my horse back there whenever I'm here working.
Okay, fantastic.
Mm.
I think
Go ahead.
we should start by having a quick chat with patrons see what we might be doing later. Then I'll go drive Buttercup around the back, and then we can head to the mayor.
Okay. Do you want to talk to the woman looking for help first, or do you want to like ask the
Uh,
guards about what they saw?
I'm gonna talk to this guard. You might want to ask her.
Okie dokie. I'll go talk to the elf girl.
Okay, so let's do.
Here's gonna talk to guards.
All right, so we should be good. Sorry about that. Who wants to go first? Don't everybody jump at the same time.
I say I can go first.
Yeah, go for it.
Hi. Hi there. I was just talking to the innkeeper or tavern keeper, and she informed me you were looking for people for hire, for some sort of well, didn't really explain much. Just said you were looking to hire people.
She kind of like looks up from what she's writing, sets down the quill next to the ink vial she's got next to her, turns and looks at you, and she takes a long while looking you up and down. I'm not so sure you're the kind of person that might be able to help.
Well, I'll sort of gesture over my shoulder and be like, "I'm with him if that helps," and just sort of thumb like over at Garish.
She looks over at Garish, kind of looks him up and down a little bit, maybe lingering a little longer than she might reasonably do so. All right, have a seat.
Much obliged. My name's Miklaresh.
I'm Shira. Pleasure. So, Meklaresh, what brings you to Crescent Ridge?
We're making a delivery for a baron from Ravenwood. Bringing something up to the mayor. Figured we'd see what people had doing around town while we're here.
Wow, that
So
sounds...
adventurers of sorts.
I was about to say, you sound awfully boring, but adventurers. How much do you know about the old world? About ruins?
Now this is out of character, but I'm wondering if I should be like, yes, I know all kinds, or I know nothing.
It's up to you.
Actually, how much would I know?
Make
I don't even know if I know what I know is connected to the old world.
make a history check.
Science, knowledge, history.
Out of character suggestion, you could say you have hands-on experience.
I would say that you delved into ancient ruins when you guys delved down into
Torghast?
That wasn't called Torghast.
No, it wasn't.
It was something else.
Something else.
Yeah, on my maps I have it labeled as Thieves' Folly, but it has a different name. But you guys did delve into ancient ruins. You did do that. But other than that, like your knowledge of the world that used to be is very, very small. Other than that, I would say you don't have any extra experience with it, other than maybe one particular thing in your backstory.
Yes, but that is not a share thingy.
Yeah, that is something from the old world as well.
Okay, so I'll say, well, we're not particularly knowledgeable, but we are experienced with going into ancient ruins.
Might be useful. Really, I just need some people to help me shift some things around, maybe help me clean up a little bit around the dig site. I suppose, to be upfront with you, it's not exactly legal what I'm doing out here, but most of the locals don't seem to care.
Well, legal is just, it's a term lawmakers throw around.
Well, it's so convoluted. If I could get permits to dig out here, I would. But, the people up in the frickin' Guiding Light don't really, control this area, and the people in Malia don't control this area, so it's not like when I went through those draconic ruins. It's very different.
Oh, are these ruins draconic?
Not draconic, per se. And once she notices something when you say that. She caught you with something. Your interest in this has suddenly piqued hers. Not draconic per se, although there are plenty of draconic ruins around the area, which suggests that the dragons used to be here in Arcadia. No, this one is much, much older. There's a lot of very interesting mysteries to unearth there.
Well, I know Garish is pretty good at physical labor, and I'm gonna like roll up my sleeve a little bit and do like the we can do it working woman pose from the World War II posters, and be like, and I'm pretty helpful too.
Make a persuasion check.
Oh no, I don't have a good history with these.
When I flex, I feel okay.
The 4, yeah, that's exactly what happens. So you flex, and she kind of like looks at you and she chuckles to herself a little bit. Okay, okay. Well, tell you what. How familiar are you with the area?
We've actually just arrived.
So not at all. You've never been to Crescent Ridge before.
No,
Okay.
I grew up in the mountains around Briarton.
Wow, that is far away. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
we travel.
I mean, I've traveled around a little bit too. Usually more central, in all ruins, but it's neither here nor there. East of here, about 3 miles away, is a place known as the Scar. It's a massive canyon that bisects the stone cliffs. I happened to have an associate who was exploring some of the caves in the area that came across a very interesting curiosity in the area. If you and your friend were to escort me to his dig site, I'd be happy to pay you.
Oh, how much?
Depending on the difficulties, if all goes well, 5 gold pieces. If we run into any difficulties on the way, maybe more.
That sounds reasonable. When are you looking to depart?
Tonight, if possible, or in the morning, depending. Whatever you and your companion are more comfortable with.
We are fairly weary from our travels, and we would we would very much like to spend a night in some soft beds, as opposed to our hard travel packs.
I can definitely understand.
But yeah, I'll clear it with him, and I should be able to get back to you momentarily.
Well, let me know. As you are turning to go walk back towards Garish, give me a perception check.
There's a roll.
As you are turning away, your eyes land on the paper that she's working on. And on the page, you see what appears to be a drawing of a stone structure of some sort that kind of splinters and is jagged and is kind of like this spire. And next to it, you see that there are words written in primordial, although the way that the words are drawn is very crude, which means they looks like someone copied the characters but did not fully understand it.
So yeah, it's like toddler's handwriting.
Yeah,
almost.
it's like if you were to transcribe something in Japanese, not knowing Japanese.
Not knowing any of the kanji.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can still read it, and what it says is the Spire of Dawn.
Okay, that is very interesting. Gonna keep that in the old noggin.
No, D-A-W-N, Dawn. Garish, you walk over to the table, and the 3 guardsmen appear to be playing cards, their helmets taken off, set aside, their weapons at their backs. Disarmed, just kind of having a good time, enjoying some drink.
Something happened in the area? Heard you talking about it on the way in.
Oh, you mean the Demon of the Sands. The other 2 roll their eyes when the 3rd one says it. I saw him out there. Sure you did, Carl. Sure.
Could you tell me more about this?
Yeah, the demon. The demon. Out there in the desert, there's a man. Well, something that used to be a man. Now is the demon that wanders the sands and kills everyone in their path. An absolute nightmare from legend. A one-armed swordsman. It's all hogwash, Carl. You're full of shit. You were drinking. I was not drinking.
So is this something that's been causing trouble?
Before Carl can speak up again, the other one raises his hand. There's no trouble. There is no demon of the sands. This person doesn't exist. No, definitely not been causing any trouble in the area. But that being said, if you see lone travelers wandering the desert, they're probably more trouble than they're worth.
Well, where did you see this alleged demon?
To the north. I saw him. I was on my nightly patrol, going north through the roads towards Malia. We patrol about an hour out. And when I was just about getting ready to turn around, I saw a figure on the ridge. A cloaked figure wearing tattered rags and a long, broad bastard sword across his back. It was the demon of the sands, I tell you. The burning red pitch for eyes, a soul black as night.
Garish's eyes light up when he describes the sword.
Man doomed to wander cursed existence. We've all heard it before, Carl. The old women tell the stupid story to children to frighten them to go to bed early, or else the demon will get them. It's not true. It's just a rumor. False legend.
Maybe I'll go investigate. Might be fun.
Well, I hope you like sand, because that's all you're going to find out there.
That's all I'll find in any direction, I suppose.
Well, if you want anything other than sand, I go south.
Garish will nod.
Anything
It's
else?
about time to drive the cart around.
Yeah, about that time is when Mekleresh comes up next to you. The two of you exit the tavern together.
Well, I've got a curious lead for an adventure. Maybe some gold to recover our costs. That young woman is looking for an escort to a dig site out in the canyon to the east.
The east.
Yeah. She's offering us 5 gold and possibly more if we run into trouble. But 5 gold for an easy escort? That's not so bad. She said she would like to leave tonight, but I talked her into leaving in the morning so that we can, sleep.
Sleep is alright. Guess that'll be good.
I want a bed. Just one night in the bed. It'll be fine.
I learned of some superstition in the area. Demon apparently has a really cool sword.
Oh, and I suppose you want this sword now.
Well, there's no telling if it really exists, but I'll definitely be keeping an eye out.
Okay. Well, are you open to taking her up on her offer? Maybe we'll find this demon of yours on the way out.
Mekleresh, can you make a charisma saving throw for me, please?
Oh.
Okay. Continue. Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, maybe we'll find this demon of yours out on the way.
Probably a better idea to just prioritize the concrete job. But it's
Well,
not
I
like
just, I was just teasing you a little bit.
but our first priority is this delivery.
Yes, very much so. Nothing happens.
Don't repeat my whispers.
I didn't realize it was a whisper. I'm sorry. Ignore that. I didn't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
So let's stable Buttercup, or at least post her up, to unhitch her from the wagon so she can like lay down if she wants to, and we'll take this package to the mayor. Sound good?
Garish is already getting ready to drive the cart.
Yeah. You take the cart around the side, and you see the trough of feed and water. It's underneath a thatched roof around the side of the building. So you park the cart near there, unhitch Buttercup, hitch her to the post nearby. She drinks from the water happily. Giving her a good pat, I assume the two of you make your way over to the mayor's residence.
Yes. We've retrieved the package from the carriage.
Right. It's in your haversack.
Oh, right. Yes, I retrieved from my haversack. Oh no, I keep it in there until we get there. Safe than sorry.
Now we head 3 doors down.
As the two of you approach the building, it looks more or less like the rest of the buildings that are here. There's no distinguishing markers next to it, although this one does not have the doors that flip. It has a normal wooden door. Through the windows, you can see that there are kind of like tan-ish colored curtains that are drawn and pulled over them.
I assume it's like a proper front door,
Yeah, it's a proper door.
not like a saloon one. Okay, then I'll knock.
Yep.
Sure. After you knock on the door, a few quick raps of your hand, you see movement in one of the windows, and then like the curtains shifting back into place, and then the door opens. There's a salt and pepper haired human standing there in front of you, wearing pretty like nice clothes for this area. Nothing super fancy, but like nicer. I'm sorry. Can I help you?
Hello. We're looking for the mayor.
I suppose I'm the closest thing to a mayor out here. What can I help you with? Trouble with people in town?
Oh, no. Would you happen to know a Baron Hawk in Ravens Hill?
Yeah, I'm familiar with Baron Hawk.
Oh, excellent. He actually sent us here on an errand to deliver a package
Oh.
to the mayor, which we assume would be you.
Yeah, I've been expecting it for about a week now. Come on in. And he kind of opens the door and gestures the two of you inside.
Thank you.
Inside the entryway is a small drawing room. There's a table with 2 chairs over in the corner, and he says, "Please have a seat. Can I get you anything to drink? Some tea, perhaps?"
No, I'm okay. Not in this heat.
Suppose that's fair.
I'll set my haversack down in front of me and just sort of open it up and start beginning to like pretend to like dig for the package, but even though I know I can bring it up right away.
Sure. How is Baron Hawk doing nowadays?
Our exchange was brief, but he seemed well.
That's good. That's good. Always good to hear that he's doing well.
I'll take the package out.
As you retrieve the package, you notice that the silver thread that was threaded around the outside is gone.
Oh no.
The package is still sealed. It appears it's sealed in other places, but that silver thread is gone.
I'll hand it over.
He accepts it and kind of takes it under his arm. All right, well, I appreciate the delivery. And if any of the townsfolk give you any trouble, just feel free to let me know. I'm kind of like, think of me more as like the sheriff of the town, I suppose, than the mayor.
Oh, do people tend to, cause trouble around here?
Usually it's outsiders who want to make some trouble. We had some troublemakers a few weeks back, but nothing since, not really.
What were these troublemakers doing?
Tipping cattle.
Wow. Those dang tippers, you can't trust them.
You can't. You really
Yeah,
can't.
they're making deals these days.
But
We're going to be in the area for a short time. Do you know if there's any happenings or jobs going on?
Let me think. I think Kristoff was looking for some people to help build a barn, but I guess that's probably out of your skill sets. As well, I think there's a fence that needs mending, about 3 miles out to the west. Again, they broke a fence when they went to tip the cows, so it's always fun.
Well, we do have another potential job lined up that's more suited to our skill sets, but you never know. Maybe we'll find ourselves in need of doing that.
No problem. Yeah. Well, thank you for the delivery. I appreciate you very much. I do have some other matters to attend to, so I do apologize.
Of course, we will leave you to your duties then.
Kata nods to you. He sets the package down on the table when you guys get up.
Alright, I'll stand up to leave and just sort of like curtsy on my way out.
Yep. The two of you find yourselves back outside. You hear the click of a lock behind you whenever the door closes.
I'm gonna whisper to Garish right away. Garish, what the hell? The silver thread was gone.
Did you detect anything magical?
I didn't have a chance. That takes time.
You did use detect magic on the package when you
Previously,
yeah,
yes.
when you first had it, when the silver thread gave off a magical aura. When you first looked at it. But you could not ascertain what the purpose of it was, nor did you care to.
Yes. And it just was like, oh, it's magic.
Yeah.
Can you check if the thread is still in the haversack?
I'll flip open the haversack and start trying to pull out the thread if it's there.
Nope.
No, it is gone. It is vanished, disappeared, el finito. I think we could put this behind us, do a quick job, and then get out of here. What do you think?
We might want to watch our backs.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Keep watching the tavern tonight.
Mm, we can see if there's anything else in the town.
Well, I mean, I did tell Shira that I would speak to you and be right back, so I don't want to keep her waiting too long.
All right. We can do a tour of the town tomorrow then.
Well, I mean, we could, sign on to that job and then take a quick purview of the town. It doesn't seem like there's much going on or many offerings.
I suppose we have a few hours left in the day. Let's head back to the tavern for now then.
Yeah. All right, we'll go back to the tavern for now.
Sure.
And I guess we'll approach Shira.
As the two of you approach, you notice that she has restacked the papers into a nice stack next to her, and is pinning something else. Now there appears to be some sort of a metallic rod that she's looking at and kind of like spinning over and then making notes about. But the paper with the spire on it no longer is there. It's probably somewhere else in that stack of papers she has. And she looks like while you were gone, she like consolidated some things and like moved them around.
I'll walk up and be like, "Hello, Shira. This is my companion, Garish," and I'll gesture to Garish.
Charm.
We would we would be happy to help escort you to your dig site in the Scar.
Fantastic. Tomorrow morning or tonight?
I'll just reconfirm with Garish and be like, "Tomorrow morning, right? Or would you like to press on?"
Well, you did say you'd like the rest.
And we did pay for the room already.
Well, like I said, I don't mind waiting until the morning. It's only a couple of miles away, so maybe half an hour's journey. It might take us a little while to find the actual dig site since it's down, and she kind of makes a downward gesture. It's kind of in the scar itself, but it shouldn't be too much trouble.
Yeah. I assume it's not really traversable by horse. It would probably be best for us to leave
Oh, Lord,
our
no.
wagon here. Yes.
You do not want to bring a wagon through desert sands. It's certainly a good way to get rid of a wagon.
No, we very much like our wagon, so we would prefer to keep it if at all possible. It would certainly make the journey back much longer.
Yeah, maybe half an hour by foot. So, yeah, I don't
Oh,
mind.
that's not so bad.
I have some more notes to take.
We're going a couple miles in half an hour through the desert. Damn, she's setting a real fast pace. Oh, well, we're just going to take a look around the town before we retire for the evening. Should we meet here in the morning?
Yeah, no problem. I'll be here.
Oh, fantastic. Well, you then.
She kind of goes back to what she was working on.
Alright, I guess we'll step back out of the saloon. I'll be like, so Garish, where would you like to go?
Why don't we just walk aimlessly?
Walk aimlessly in this two-horse town. Because we literally saw two horses.
Sure, go ahead and make investigation checks. As you're kind of like meandering about and just looking around. Well, you certainly find more than two horses. Wandering around, you find some small plaques that denote a general store. You find another one that is a blacksmith, but it does not appear to be a weapon or armor smith.
Horseshoes,
It's
hammers.
like horseshoes, hammers, spades, nails, that sort of thing, pythons. You do find a building that's kind of tucked away in between the buildings that appears to be some sort of a grocer. And then towards the far edge of the town, as far away from the entrance as that you guys came through originally, appears to be a very large, unlabeled warehouse. It's got it has one guardsman standing directly outside the door, kind of keeping an eye as you all are just kind of meandering about, looking around.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's open to the public.
No,
Or like a shop. It's very much like...
It looks like
storehouse.
it looks like a warehouse, like a big storehouse. It's got 2 floors to it as well. But other than that, I mean, you find there are several residential houses that you kind of look at and take note of the design. Most of the buildings is pretty plain. There's not a lot of fanciful decorations to any of it. Looking about in some of the areas in between some of the buildings, it looks like they've used the shade and plenty of water to create small gardens in the kind of cracked battleland soil, which is surprising for this area. But that's pretty much what you guys find as you kind of poke and investigate about.
Maybe I can learn something about botany. I think we should stop by the general store.
If you would like. You never know what they might have, general stores.
I'd like to ask if there's anything in particular we might need in this environment.
Sure. So the two of you head over to the general store, which is just that was your guess at what it was by looking at outside. There's no signage or anything. But as the two of you step inside, the door's not locked. There's a small jingle of a bell when you open the door. You see a gnomish man behind the counter kind of look up from a book, and a bespectacled gnomish man look up from a book behind the counter and then kind of go back to his book as he's taken note of the two of you entering. You see all sorts of things around. Different kinds of hats to deal with the sun. You see a rack that appears to have different sized spectacle lenses on it. There's another one that has rope, feed, rations. You can see all kinds of dried fruits in one area, dried vegetables in another. It just appears to be very general what they have here. Nothing incredibly fancy, but things that people might need odds and ends.
Oh, do you sell supplies here?
Yes, we've got plenty of supplies. Depends on what the two of you are looking for.
We've just arrived here today. Is there anything in particular you'd recommend for The desert.
Kind of glances over at a hat rack. Well, a good hat will take you pretty far. Maybe some bandanas over there to keep the sand out of your eyes whenever the desert winds kick up. Plenty of water. We saw water skins as well.
I am going to take a look at the hats. As soon as he said hats, I want to go take a look at the hats.
There are all kinds of hats. There are bowler hats, 10-gallon hats, cowboy hats. You find a fez in one of the things. You kind of put that back and keep looking. There's a nice sun hat. There's a blossom hat as well.
I'm gonna grab the sun hat
Sure. It's a little floppy.
and a bandana
Okay.
for the sand.
Are there any goggles or sunglasses or anything of that like?
If you're looking for goggles, I think I've got some over there in the back, and he kind of points over to the section with the spectacles. Looking through the section, you find what appear to be like thick glass lenses that don't distort the light too much when you kind of hold them up and look through them. That will wrap around. They're goggles. They're pretty standard goggles, leather trimmed, just ocular pieces. Those are a lot more useful if you're heading towards Malia, but you usually don't need goggles around these parts unless the winds kick up hard.
Even if we're going to the Scar?
Oh, you folks going to the Scar? Just sightseeing?
This and that.
Well, it's quite a sight. It depends if you're careful. As long as you don't fall in, I think you'll be all right.
Oh, is it dangerous in there? Or is it a long fall?
Well, it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. There are lots of monsters and other nasties toward the bottom, but the bottom is thousands of feet down, so you probably won't survive if you fall.
Good to know.
My cat could.
Yes. Poor my cat.
But if you're planning on doing anything around there, I suppose supplies depend on what you were doing.
Ignore that. I didn't cast it. Oh, sorry. I didn't actually catch that.
You say it depends on what you're doing at the Scar. If you're just sightseeing, no, just some water to bring with you for the trip might be enough. Might be a nice hat.
Well, I certainly have the nicest hat I can find, and I'll sort of like flop the sun hat a little bit.
He gives you a toothy grin when he sees it.
What does the sun hat look like?
It's just a big floppy like hat. I don't know another way to describe it. You just go look up sun hats on Google, and you will see the glory that is the sun hat.
Hold on, I'll take a picture of the one I have. Because I have a sun hat, because they're amazing.
It's just a really big floppy hat.
And was that the only one?
It's
No.
the only sun hat.
There's multiple of them if you want.
Oh, there's multiple sun hats?
Yeah, like there's multiple of all of them except for the fez. There's only one fez. Like they have a wide array of hats. They also have boots over in another corner, but no one asked about boots.
I've got boots.
Ooh.
Yes. That's a sun hat.
I'm just wondering about particular designs.
I was trying to point out that Kaiserin's cloak has a hood, and she still bought a sun hat.
It's super cute.
I'm probably gonna buy a sun hat.
You don't want a 10-gallon hat?
Well, certain occasions call for certain styles.
Also, like, somewhere in a corner you see a tri-cream as well, but that's, neither here nor there.
Yeah. Let's ask how much the sun hat and the bandana is.
It'll just be 2 silver for the both of them.
Right, and I'll take that out of my pocket money.
Happily accepts your coin.
I'm going to closely examine my sun hat options.
There is a tan sun hat, a dark brown sun hat, and a black sun hat.
What color's the sun hat I got? Is
You
it
got-
the same as
you
the one I
got-
posted to Discord?
It's beige.
Dang. Did you look? It's fantastic.
I can't look right now.
Oh, of course.
I can't look at anything right now.
It's bright pink with a big flower.
No, it is. That is not available here.
Dang.
Are there any ribbons on these?
Not on the sun hats that are there. They're just very plain.
I'll just take a brown sun hat then. Now I'll look at the options for eyewear.
Sure. There's several different kinds of goggles. Some are thicker than others. Some are smaller. You kind of looking through a couple of them. You put 1 or 2 of them on. They don't quite fit right, and you eventually find some that fit you pretty well. They have a almost an almond colored leather that's wrapped around the lenses to keep them off of your eyes, as well as kind of a black band that goes around the back of your head.
So, brown sun hat, sort of aviator-like goggles, and an extra water skin is what I'm looking at.
Picking up all of that, I see. Well, that'll be 1 gold, 1 silver, and 3 copper.
I will hand all that over.
Happily takes your money. I very much appreciate the 2 of you. If there's anything else you need, feel free to stop back by.
One silver, 3 copper.
Hmm?
Was it 1 gold, 1 silver, 3 copper?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, I don't know about you. I'm a little tired of rations and hunting. It'd be nice to have a proper meal. Do you just want to go back to the tavern and have ourselves a nice supper and then settle in for the evening?
Yeah, let's see what they're offering.
Well, I mean, they their board said dinner.
Well, dinner shall be.
Yeah, so I guess we'll go back to the tavern. Walk up to the tavern keep, whose name I never got because I'm super rude like that.
The sun, as you guys are stepping out of the general store, you guys spent some time walking around town. You guys, spent a little bit while browsing
Felt
the
like an
interior.
hour, I guess. Yeah.
The sun's just now starting to coast to the bottom of the horizon, sending kind of an orangish glow into the sky. You guys step back inside the tavern proper. Looks like it's a little less rowdy than it was before. You do not see Shira in the bar. No, also the 3 guardsmen that are here now appear to be different guardsmen that were there before, as well as a smattering of a few other faces you don't recognize. But the 2 of you move forward and approach the bar proper.
Evening. I hope we haven't missed dinner.
Nope. I think we still serving it for the next 3 or 4 hours. She kind of nods like, you guys are early.
Oh. Well, I mean, it's like,
I mean, it just got done, so if you want some, it's fresh. So now's a great time, I suppose.
yeah. What are you serving this evening?
Rabbit, potatoes, carrots, I
rabbit.
think. I don't know. I'll get you something. It's good. It'll be good. It'll be good.
Okay. I'll just sort of glance at the board to see how much it is.
It's 2 silver.
Okay, and what's the drink menu look like while I'm looking at the board?
Now, looking over the drink menu, it's like beer. It just says beer, and then 2 copper. And under that is apple juice, 4 copper. And then under that is like, more and more and more drinks as it goes further and further down.
Okay, there's a lot.
Yeah, there's like probably 20 different types of drinks that are there. You see like coffee, you see like wine, you see like you see something called Dwarven Firewater. You see something else that's like called Mushroom Grout. Like it's a pretty big list.
Well, I'm gonna grab 2 silver and 2 copper and get myself dinner and a beer.
No problem. Bring it right to your table here in a few minutes.
Garish?
For 2 silver and 4 copper, I'll take the dinner and apple juice because that is exactly what I was looking for.
All right, not a problem. I'll be right out. And she nods to you, takes note of where the two of you are going to sit down at, and she walks over towards the back.
I'm
Disappears.
sitting at 2 tables.
You can hold down Alt to put yourself in between tiles, by the way.
This is amazing.
After a few minutes, she reemerges. It's dinner. It's dinner. It's rabbit, mashed potatoes, and carrots, like chopped up carrots. She sets down the two plates, one in front of each of you, and two small wooden cups. Anything else you
Awesome,
need?
Trevor.
Just let me know. She kind of
No,
goes back around to the bar.
I'm going to enjoy my first hot meal in a little while.
It's not like the best thing you've ever had, but it's filling and it's warm and it's comforting.
It's good.
It's better than hardtack.
Yeah, like compared to the dried fruits and dried meats and biscuits and stuff you guys have been eating along the road, it's a nice change of pace. Although it's not twice as nice as the like foraged meals that you made a couple of times on the trip.
Hardtack rabbit stew. It's all delicious to Garish.
Any discussions over dinner?
Apple juice.
Is it really that good?
I mean, it's apple juice. I haven't had it in months.
Well, maybe I'll have some in the morning with breakfast. I definitely won't be drinking beer for breakfast.
I will say the apple juice is not cold.
Ooh.
Warm apple
It's
juice.
it's kind of like room temperature apple juice. No, but it's not fermented, so it's
Soft
just apple
cider.
juice. Very soft cider.
So, what do you think about heading into the Scar? I mean, she didn't let us know there were going to be monsters on the way. But I guess, we don't know how far down we're going. I assume we'll be following some sort of goat path into a cave.
Shouldn't be too bad.
I mean, we still have some climbing gear.
I think I have a lot of rope still.
Anything else the two of you would like to do? Discuss, talk about?
I think we'll just, do some sort of generic talking and banter about the weather and the journey, how dry it is out in the desert, and then we'll retire to bed. Unless Garish has something pressing to talk about.
Nod, grunt, affirmation.
Very garish.
Perfect.
Eventually, the two of you do retire to the room. It's nothing incredibly fancy. A few pelts laid across a wooden frame, barely a mattress underneath, and it's quite hot, so it's not like super comfortable sleeping here. But eventually, rest does find you, and the two of you awaken in the morning, refreshed and ready to go. Mekulish, could you make another charisma saving throw for me, please?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Yeah, the two of you awaken. It's the sun slowly shining in through the window as the two of you gather your things and begin your day. Whenever you're ready.
I am ready now.
Can you make a wisdom saving throw for me, please? When you guys first wake up in the morning. Okay, noted. Yeah, the day is yours. You guys are free to do whatever you wish.
I'm planning to sit at the bench out front and wait until our job is ready to go.
Well, when you first come downstairs, she's sitting at the table again, just kind
Okay.
of looking up the stairs at you when you come down. She's got a backpack on, with like a sleeping bag rolled up on top of it. She appears to be wearing some type of leather armor at this point. In addition to her duster, she has a bandana around her, wrapped around her neck, and a pair of goggles that are kind of lifted up, kind of bunching her hair up toward the top.
Yep, I'm also dressed and ready to go.
Ah, I see the two of you are ready. Good to go.
Yep, Garish.
I'm ready to walk out the door right now.
Fantastic. She takes the lead and walks out in front, turns and walks through the alleyway next to this building, and continues off. And in the distance, in the horizon, you can see small bits of plateaus that are kind of cut up above the ground. And you all begin to walk. Mechlash, could you roll a d20 for me, please?
Just a d20?
Just a d20. Seven. Okay. So two of you walk and continue as the sun slowly begins to rise and the temperature slightly gets warmer. Mechlaresh, you're not bothered at all by it. Garish, in your heavy metal armor, you can start to feel a little warmer than you normally are, but you're fine for the most part. But the two of you, along with Shira, continue further and further east. After about 30, 45-ish minutes, hard to keep track, you eventually can see kind of a section of the ground that is significantly higher, almost like there's a solid wall of stone that raises up about 50 feet into the air. And it's just a giant wall that almost looks like a huge cliffside that continues down ahead of you. Pushing forward, passing by small bits of dried tumbleweeds that kind of get kicked up and bits of sand that flurries around your feet as you continue forward. You eventually find yourself standing at the precipice of a massive chasm. You look down, and the way that the sun is angled, you cannot see the bottom. You'd have to get all the way up to the very edge. And even then, it's dark when you kind of like peer over. Ahead of you, the ground looks like it was fractured, and part of it has been lifted up to create that kind of 50-foot high stone wall across hundreds of feet in front of you. Well, we've arrived at the scar. First time, I take it.
Yes, it's very impressive.
I've hired people to take me out here a few times, but we still haven't located Brian's discovery.
Does the sun rise in the east in this setting?
Yes.
So would the
And it sets in the west too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't want
would
to
there
have to
be a huge shadow?
Yeah, so the shadow, that's why you can't see down into the bottom of the chasm. Is because of the wall casting the sunlight down. But the sun is slowly getting higher in the sky as time goes on. It's been about an hour since you guys first got out of bed.
It's also getting super warm, I assume.
Yeah. You're fine, though. Mechlaresh,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
fine. Warm climates don't bother you. Cold, you're not so great in, but, warm's fine. Well, the last time I brought people out here, we searched to the south, so I suppose we go north.
Okay. Do you know any distinct landmarks or characteristics of, any way that would point us to the dig site, or are we just looking for any signs of travel?
Well, he told me that it was marked with some pythons and a rope, but your guess is as good as mine. He said it was in a cavern on the side of the scar. So keep an eye peeled as we continue. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and initiate a skill challenge. What skills would you like to use to try to find the correct place?
Perhaps perception and survival.
I was thinking survival, because that's like either that or nature. I don't know which one's more related to the topography of the land.
Okay, well, let's do... Who wants to make a survival check first?
I have training in survival, so I feel like that's probably...
Mine's 3 bonus.
I have 4.
Okay, that'd be you then.
And I think I have 1 perception. If you have better than that.
My perception is 0, but I'm not sure if investigation.
Well, it doesn't really matter too much.
Oh dear.
Dice are dicing tonight.
Okay. You wander along the edge of the scar, pushing forward, and you're looking for signs of tracks or trails or anything in the area that might give a glimpse into maybe an area that's been traversed before. But your eyes keep, like, glancing at the enormity of the cavern, and, like, you keep catching yourself, like, I'm looking for tracks, and you, like, your eyes kind of drift and look into the abyss that lies down below. But we're going to mark that as a failure.
Yeah.
Garish, it would be your turn to try to use one of your skills.
I think investigation would be more appropriate than perception.
It's up to you. You can use any skill if you can argue that a skill could be useful here. I will set a DC for the roll.
I do have a suspicion about what I could do, but I want to save it as a last resort because it would reveal so much.
Well, as a note, if you guys do not succeed the challenge overall, you will not find what you're looking for. And I will not tell you when you have fully failed.
Yeah.
Gonna go with investigation.
Sure, go ahead and make an investigation check as you glance around, glancing through and looking kind of past the shadows and using the best of your vision to kind of peer through. You begin to see further down in the north, you begin to see darker spots in the stone where the shadows of the sun are being obscured even more by overhangs of rock that kind of lead into small caverns. So you do see in the cavern wall, or in the wall, that there are caves that kind of cut through here. But no signs of a dig site yet.
How wide is the scar?
It's about 200, 300 feet.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is quite far.
And we're looking for well.
You can always
you can always
ask if that helps.
I was thinking about making a light rock, tying it to a rope, lowering the rope in, and then walking with the rope along the side to sort of shine light in, but it wouldn't reach across to the other side.
Yeah.
What if you cast a light on a ball bearing and I throw it in?
Well, it only sheds like light from up to 60 feet.
It's not like
do that.
Like it's not like the wall that you guys are facing as time goes on is becoming more and more revealed as the sun gets higher in the sky. That's part of the reason why Garish could see that there are these like cavern entrances. Because the sun has gotten higher and he can clearly see that there are depressions in the rock and small cracks in it that might lead to caverns. Whether they are only a few feet deep or the place you're looking for, it's hard to tell.
I guess I would like to make an investigation check as well, and just sort of peer out over the edge and look for, more signs of travel or whatnot.
Yeah, sure, that's not a problem. Go ahead and make an investigation check, but do note that if you use the same skill multiple times, the DC gets higher.
Okay.
Just dice
Curse.
things.
Just nice thing.
Again, you continue along the northern edge, looking at some of the areas that Garish pointed out, and you feel kind of homesick for a few moments. Something about the kind of immensity of the drop and kind of this jutting bits of rock that are shooting out of different areas remind you of home. And, like,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to concentrate through all that. Garish?
I'm gonna ask Shira if she's noticed anything.
I mean, honestly, it just looks like a bunch of rock to me. I mean, usually these ruins have some sort of a, tell. There's usually, like, spires or broken bits of columns or that sort of thing, but I haven't seen anything like that here. In fact, the last site I was at was this huge dome that was obscured by, weeds and trees, but even then it was an obvious place in the woods that didn't belong. There's nothing like that here. It makes me wary of Brian's description. Oh yeah, I need to make a roll for her as well. Okay.
She's doing slightly better than I am.
She's not doing great. At one point, she goes to say something and then kind of starts spitting sand out of her mouth. She kind of holds up her handkerchief and puts it over her mouth. This place is the freaking worst. Should have just stayed in all ruins.
Could I use acrobatics to travel all around the thing? See what I can see.
So
It's big.
as you kind of look about, you see where maybe like 10 feet below where you're standing at the moment, as you guys are kind of walking, you do see like a cliff's edge that kind of juts out about 15 feet forward, at an angle up that you can't quite see past. So yeah, you can go ahead and try an acrobatics check to try to like hop over there to like look around the area.
I'd also like to use 10-foot pole Chan to tap ahead of me to make sure it's stable.
Yeah, like you can take you take 10-foot pole chain and you like shove, and that it's a big boulder that's kind of like obscuring your view at the moment. So it doesn't appear to like it's gonna not catch you, but it's more of a are you going to fall problem than it is a uneven footing problem.
All right, I'll try that.
Sure, make an acrobatics check. Okay. With a 21, you very carefully push yourself off and land on the stone, and you slip maybe like a foot down the slope of it, but you catch yourself with your hand grabbing a piece of loose rock that's kind of jutting out, and you kind of pull yourself up, and you glance down, and when you glance down, maybe 100 feet away from you, on the same side that you are, you can see a rope dangling down the chasm.
Think I found it.
Oh, I hope so.
Using your same acrobatics check, you manage to pull yourself back up to the other two. Heading over to where you saw the rope, and glancing down, kind of getting flat down so you're not exposed to the fall, because it is dizzying. Now that the sun is up, you can't quite see the bottom of the chasm quite yet, but it is really, really far down. Like, impressively far. And you think you see things moving at the bottom. But looking around, you do see where there is a python smashed into the rock wall. Maybe one, like, just inside the ledge. So if you were walking along, you would have completely missed it. If you did not see it from the jump. But you see the rope dangling down, and down maybe 100 feet down from this incredibly long rope, you see what appears to be another one of those pockets, where there's kind of like this big long crack inside the stone. But it does not appear that there is a landing platform. It appears you will need to use the rope to swing into the hole, into the crack.
Yay!
Do you see it?
This is gonna take some effort.
Yeah, it looks like this is it.
Damn it, Brian. Okay. So which one of you would love to volunteer to go first?
I imagine Shira and I both look at.
I guess I'll go first.
Yeah, like she's kind of looking at both of you, and as like there's no one that like jumps on it, she just sighs.
I said I'll go first.
Huh? By all means, good luck.
All right.
Kind of pushing yourself over to the side of the ledge and seeing the dizzying, almost the vertigo-inducing fall. You can see the rope, maybe a foot below the ledge, and far down below, you see that singular crack in the stone.
How far, like, how far down the rope do I need to go? And, like, how much swing am I going to have to do?
It looks like it's about 100 feet down, and maybe, like, 20 feet worth of swing. Like, it looks like you need to, like, swing the rope along the wall to get inside this crack.
Jeez. Okay, I'm just trying to think of a way to make this easier for everyone else afterwards, but anything I can think of is going to compromise my ability to do this.
Make a perception check as you're kind of looking down into this chasmous abyss. Looking down past where the rope is dangling, like the very end of the rope, you do see that there is a stone like that is jutting out to create almost like a landing platform underneath it, but that's another like 70 feet down below the rope. But then again, it's hard to gauge the distance that far away. But it is down a ways from the bottom of the rope.
But the rope is free swinging.
Yes.
And, like, the python stop at one point. It looks like you're supposed to swing into this cavern, this opening, this crack.
That's what it appears.
Okay.
Maybe
Sorry, go ahead.
if Garish went first, he could help pull people in, right?
Well, what I was thinking is, if Mechlaresh goes first and someone misses, I can slow fall them, and then jump after them and slow fall me and you. And, like, that way they're not alone at the bottom of the cavern. Fallen to death, killed by monsters.
That sounds dangerous and practical.
Yeah.
What's
But
the plan?
I think, jeez, Mechlaresh is still going first. And I'm going to try and swing into the hole.
Okay. You climb down the rope, you get down to the bottom of where the rope is, and it takes a while to get down the rope. It's so long, and your arms are beginning to hurt when you get towards the bottom. Go ahead and make an athletics or acrobatics check to see if you can properly get the momentum and swing yourself into the hole, because you have to let go of the rope to get inside.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very sketchy endeavor. Alright, with a 13, you kind of use the wall, like kind of run along the wall, get a little bit of momentum, run along the wall again, get a little bit more momentum. You can feel the moment coming, and you get a little bit more momentum, and then you run all the way back, and it's like this time it's do or die, and you run along the wall, and you let go of the rope, and you land inside the crack.
Oh, thank God.
You tumble, and you kind of got to dust yourself off a bit, and you got a small cut on one of your arms from a jagged stone where you landed, but nothing too damaging. But you appear to be inside and unharmed. And ahead of you, you see the crack kind of goes and kind of squeezes in certain places, but it looks like it opens up into a wider chamber on the inside. But it is pitch black inside.
All right, I'm going to make a light rock.
creating the light rock and kind of holding it out in front of you. The light fills in about 20 feet ahead of you, and then that's where you like the dim light and then the dark vision kicks in. You can see some sort of a large structure in the center of this huge chamber on the inside, but you also see that there are brushes and little bits of board that are kind of laying alongside where there appears to be like a pathway built, almost like a ramp that leads around to another side. This is a very, very large chamber.
Mm-hmm.
But there is some sort of structure just at the very cusp of your vision in the center of the room.
Well, be like, I made it. And sort of wave the light rock around a little bit so they can see like the crack better.
I don't think she's dead. Ladies first, I suppose. So, Shiria is going to go ahead and climb down the rope. And when she gets to the bottom, it almost seems like she's done this before, where it's very practiced, where she uses the momentum, catches herself, goes back, and in one less swing of momentum, the Neclaresh makes her jump. And successfully lands inside. She actually lands on her feet and kind of brushes off her legs a little bit. Oh my. Well, this is interesting.
Yeah, it's there's definitely something in there.
We're not dead! You can come out, you can come down! You can catch him if he falls, right?
I can do something.
Exciting.
Forgot to buy a lasso.
She actually has not a lasso, but she has a whip on her belt. I might have not mentioned that.
So she's more Indiana Jones instead of Laura Croft. Got it.
Yes, like she is very Indiana Jones.
Oh man, I hope we don't have to fight Nazis.
Snake Nazis and the aliens.
Oh, please don't talk about that one. All right, let's see Garish make this look easy.
I'm gonna make sure the rope will support my weight.
Sure. Make an intelligence check to inspect the pythons. So just make an intelligence saving throw. Looking at them, there were a couple of them that were a little loose, and they're with the ones within reach, and you kind of like take them and tap them and make sure that they're fully secured. It looks like it'll support your weight. It doesn't look like it's been out here for long enough to become incredibly weathered.
Alright, let's begin.
Sure. You make your way down the rope, hand over hand, slowly descending down. And like Mechlaresh, like once you get down to the bottom, like your arms kind of are starting to hurt because of just how much physical effort you're putting on them, because you can't wrap your legs around the rope toward the top. It's pretty much only upper body strength because of the pythons anchoring it to the wall. But when you get down to the bottom, go ahead and make an athletics or acrobatics check, your choice, to try to swing over into the hole. You run back, get a little bit of momentum, run forward, run back, get a little bit more momentum, go forward some more, run back, get a little bit more momentum, you run and you let go of the rope, and you tumble inside, crashing down on the rocks, barely, narrowly missing the edge. In fact, when you land, one of your legs breaks off a piece of stone near the entrance to the crack, but you do manage to land inside.
Very glad for the +7.
Yeah. But yeah, you all are inside.
First try.
Only try.
Shiria raises up her hands, and 4 small little globes that emit light appear and kind of spin around her hand as she kind of shuffles it in the air, and they spread off inside the room, illuminating it. And you see...
So look at my light rock and just be like, ah.
Your light rock is brighter than those orbs, but those orbs kind of spread out to create more light.
Okay.
But the first thing you notice... Let me actually grab her token. I was unsure if you guys were going to take her with you. The first thing you notice is a massive obsidian pillar with jagged spires that shoot off in all kinds of directions, that stretches all the way, and it looks like it's breaking through the roof line, where it looks like the stones themselves came down upon the structure and could not harm it. Meclaresh, you immediately take notice that there is no writing on this, and that seems odd to you, as there are no glowing glyphs, as that would be indicative of something that would be very familiar to you. However, its odd hexagonal shape that's bent and turns in different areas seems very unnatural and very unlike the smooth obelisk you had seen before. This one is very different.
I'm still very interested.
Well then. Looks like this is the Spire of Dawn. She kind of walks up to it and examines it a bit. Runs her hand across it. Well, damn, Brian, you weren't lying to me. Huh.
Where is Brian?
Brian's back in Guiding Light. When I finished my last excavation, we met up for a chat, and he described this place. He's an adventurer friend of mine. Likes to find oddities around the world and tells me about them. It seems as though we're not the first people here, and she kind of gestures over to some of the wooden platforms in the area. It's certainly a beautiful thing. Very intriguing. And you watch as she kind of moves her hands in a symbolic way and draws a sigil in the air as her eyes glow blue for a moment. And you immediately identify the fact that she's casting Identify. And she lays one hand on the obelisk. And then she looks very confused. Huh.
Something of note.
Usually in these places, things like this thrum with magic. A lot of the old world revolved around it. Just using magic as an art, as beauty, as power. It's nothing here. It's like it's dormant or off. She kind of spins around, looking around the exterior of it. She begins to walk around. What would you like to do?
I'm going to cast Detect Magic as a ritual.
Sure. So you're taking some time, Garish. Anything you'd like to do while Meclaresh is sits down, opens up her spellbook, and begins to draw on the ground this ritual spell?
I'm gonna a survival check to see if I can notice if there's any recent activity here.
Sure, make a survival check. I'd say make an investigation check. Would probably be more looking around the area. Kind of getting your hands dirty, and you have plenty of time to investigate. Looking around the area, I mean, you see over in one corner, far across, up here, it appears that there's a small camp that's been made. You see bits and pieces of slatted wood. You also see on the ground in that area appears to be some sort of a drawing in the sand, although you can't make out what it is from here. As you kind of walk over and get closer to it, it looks like some sort of arcane drawing in the sand, but you can't. You're not a practitioner of magic, so it's not like it's a little foreign to you. But you do recognize it as something that was magical or is magical in some way. But it's just a drawing in the sand. It's not like an etching or like drawn in chalk or anything. It's just like somebody drew in the sand.
I should note that when I start casting Detect Magic, the light rock does go out. Because I can't concentrate on two things.
Well, she still has the globes.
Has the globes, but
Yeah.
they're not as bright.
Yeah.
So the amount of light in the room goes down significantly.
Yeah. But you can still see. Both of you have dark vision, so
Yeah.
even with the small globules, you can still see fine.
I'll try to commit the image to memory.
Sure. It's kind of hard because it's a very complex pattern. But you think if you saw this particular arrangement of things again, it might trigger a memory of this. Again, it's like trying to read a language you don't understand. It's just the language of magic. You've seen a lot of similar things Mekleresh do, where she draws small sigils on stuff. This is a larger one. After your investigation, your detect magic goes off, and your eyes flash for a moment, and you can see out of the corner of your eye, you can see Garish and his magical equipment you expect him to have. You also see that Celia's sword and her armor appear to be both glowing, as well as the goggles that are on her head now, as she had entered into the cavern. Those are also glowing. But looking at the spire, kind of in the heart of it, in almost like an imperceptible way, because you don't actually see the magic, you can more feel it, as if there's something slumbering deep within this giant spire. And it's, like I said, it's massive. It goes up like 30 feet into the ceiling, and then probably further than that. And there's still jagged points that shoot off at odd angles away from it.
I'm just gonna reach my hand out and touch it.
It feels oddly warm, but it doesn't seem to react.
I'm going to take out my obsidian slab. Just try and keep it hidden from Shira as best I can.
She's not looking. She's not looking at you. She's looking at the
Okay,
pillar, and
I'm
she's
like
like circling around it, like trying to look at like the odd angles as she's looking up at the way that it's kind of formed.
I want to touch the obsidian slab to the obsidian pillar.
Clink.
All right, all we get is a clink.
Yep.
I got one other Hail Mary. I guess first I would cast... No, I don't know if that's the right play. I don't know if I want to shock and grasp the spire, because it could be real bad. I want to make an insight or a history to like compare it complete. Like you gave a description about how it compares to what I remember from my childhood before I left home.
The material it's made out of is uncannily similar, but the formation of it is very different. The one that you saw before was almost a box-like shape, where it was completely flat and had shifting runes that scattered all over it, and it reeked of magic.
Yeah, and this one you said it's almost like it's slumbering, like the magic is sleeping inside it.
Yeah, you can almost feel like an ebb from it. Garish, can you make another wisdom saving throw for me, please? Thank you, sir. So what would you like to do, Mekleresh?
I'm gonna try and put some magic in it with shocking grasp.
The spire itself?
The spire itself.
So you reach up and you cast Shocking Grasp, and as the spell completes, there is a splash of bluish electricity that scatters from your fingers and strikes the stone, and nothing happens. What are you doing over there? Shira kind of rounds the corner and looks at you quizzically.
Just an experiment. I may have some knowledge with this sort of material before.
Well, if you have any ideas, I'm certainly stumped. Usually any arcane objects like this are privy to the Identify spell, but it didn't appear to work on it.
Well, I cast Detect Magic, and it almost seems like it's slumbering, like there's something in there.
Interesting.
I'm going to take out my obsidian slab and be like, this responds to spells of electric nature, most notably Lightning Bolt.
Interesting. And then she kind of walks over. Do you mind? She kind of reaches her hand out.
I'll hold it up to show her.
She'll withdraw her hand, knowing that you're kind of like being careful about it. She looks it over. Well, it does appear to be the same kind of material, but I've never seen. Huh. She kind of leans back, looks back up at the spire, is examining it very closely now. It appears to be the same material. I think you're right. But it's very curious, and she kind of begins to walk around. Garish, anything you'd like to be doing?
Is this a path?
Yes, it is. That actually goes up about 10 feet to a higher area. And yeah, you can go ahead and move your token over there as you kind of walk around and are looking at these like depression of ledges. As you are walking around the ledges, some of them are very clean cut, and other pieces of them appear to be stone masonry that has been fallen away and kind of slowly eroded by sand and wind and time. And as you get up to this area here, there's just a small platform at the top. And a lot of these wooden structures appear to be very unfinished, very rough, just like a means for getting around. McLaresh?
And
Jeez. I really want to take is a super close look at this pillar.
Yeah, go ahead and make a investigation check as you kind of look over and are. That's what she's doing. Is she's investigating it, trying to see if there's anything odd about it. Make that with advantage because you have seen one of these before.
All right, just want me to roll again?
Mm-hmm. 12. Garish, what are you doing while she's investigating?
what do I see at the end here?
It's a small landing platform up at the top. You actually see there's a it appears to be like a used bedroll. You see a small satchel that's kind of been tossed over to the side. Walking over to it and nudging it with your foot, it appears to be empty. Whatever was inside the small satchel is now gone.
But otherwise, this is a dead end.
Yeah, it's a dead end. It just leads
Okay.
like looking like now you're like looking out. You can see like you can't see McLaresh because she's on the wrong side of the pillar from you. But you can see Celia kind of running her hands along the sides of the pillar, like looking for any flaws or indentations or anything like that.
Now that I'm a little higher up, I'll look at what the ceiling's like.
It appears. Make a nature check as you kind of look over the ceiling. Looking over, it appears to be just like rough sheets of rock. And like it looks natural. Like the ceiling looks a lot more natural than like the tile floor that has sand that kind of spewed across it and the kind of like carved masonry on the sides. But it does strike you as odd, but not like incredibly so. It just seems like that's a natural cavern and this is like a carved out interior. But you are like what, 20-ish feet above everyone else right now, kind of looking down at them.
Natural sheet ceiling.
Around, like looking around, like even at the ceiling, like around the spire, you can see where the ceiling is like cracked and broken in places where it is near the spire itself. So it looks like the spire goes further up.
Does the spire reach the ceiling?
Yeah, it goes from the floor, which is bottom level, up 50 feet. And then it hits the ceiling, and then it looks like it keeps going past that.
Huh.
Based on the way the cracks are in the stone sheet that's above.
Does it look possible to ascend the spire?
You think it might be climbable, but you don't see anything up past it. Like, There's no like giant maws or holes or places you could shove yourself in between the rock and the spire itself. There's no like hole. You don't see any like holes that you could get into. Mekleresh, as you are kind of walking around the spire looking at it, you get to here when you notice that on the north side of the pillar, there is a large, like, segment of it that just looks like it's missing.
How large?
I think you can guess how large.
I'm going to insert the obsidian slab.
So you take the slab and you put it in, and it just kind of falls out. It's the correct size, and when you put it in, it looks like it almost fit perfectly, and then you let go, and it just kind of falls back into your hand.
Alright, looks like I'm doing it the hard way. Alright, hold it in place, and I'm going to channel a lightning bolt through it.
Okay.
Oh.
Garish, are you going to stay up top after you are finished investigating, or are you going to make your way back down?
Well, she's out in view, so if I saw her, I'd probably come running down. Otherwise, I'm just going to waltz down.
Yeah, so you'd be right about there. That's right about when you see her, and you can see Mekleresh holding the obsidian slab in her hand, and she takes it and connects it to the pillar, and then you can see there is this almost this boom, this force that echoes out that creates almost a shockwave in the sand nearby. Go ahead and expend your spell slot,
Oh, I did.
and you remove your hand, and it stays in place. And you can see, with your detect magic, it lasts for 10 minutes? Yeah,
Yes.
so your detect magic has faded by this point. But you can feel this kind of like pulsing shockwave fire off from where you connected it. And then suddenly you can see glowing, shifting letters begin to slowly slide up the spire itself and flow into the ceiling as they are slowly shifting and flowing upwards. Shira comes around the side. What the hell did you do? And when she gets to do, you hear a voice. And you understand it, and Garish, because of your Ring of the Pligia, you also understand it. In Primordial, a deep and resounding, booming voice fills the chamber. Who dares trespass upon the Spire of Dawn?
I'm going to respond in primordial. It is I, Mekleresh.
Celia kind of backs the fuck up away from the spire, and putting her back to the wall, holding her hands up. What the hell? None shall trespass the Spire of Dawn. Inside the shifting letters, you begin to see something. A pinprick of light in the very center of it, but it slowly grows in intensity. That's not quite the right word. It seems as if there's something that's getting closer to you from within the spire.
It's on.
Going to take a step back from the spire if I can.
What would you like to do, Garish? Can you not move? There you go.
I'm putting my goggles on.
Sure, yeah. You put your goggles on. Are you staying put?
Yes.
Okay. The figure gets larger and larger inside the pillar. As now you can see a humanoid shape getting closer and closer to you from within this pillar. However, it seems as though there's kind of this shifting mass inside this humanoid object that kind of spins and spirals outwards from it. Celia is going to back up more. Will somebody tell me, please? Tell me what the hell is going on?
Not sure yet. Trying to figure it out. And then I'm going to shout in primordial. I bent, I bent the web. I followed the stones. It led me here.
The figure, now standing taller than you, as tall as Garish, now stands at what appears to be the edge of the monolith, as if the monolith was a pool into another dimension, a refractive mirror, a lens into somewhere else. You see the figure take its hand and pound on this pane, whatever it is, and you see the sand next to you kind of shift and shudder. Its hand lifts up again. Bam! You can see cracks starting to appear. Bam! More cracks starting to appear in the solid monolith. Should like I back up more?
Yeah, just backing up a little bit more.
Garish, you staying put?
Yes. Actually, I'll get closer to the sledge in case I need to jump down to shear.
Sure, that is like 20 feet down, by the way.
Maybe over here then.
Yeah. So you run around beside, and you circle around, and you're waiting for whatever this is. And now that you're standing there, you can see the figure pounding on the sides of the pillar. One more. Bam! Suddenly, the entire room shakes. All of the dust and all of the sand begins to slowly shift in place from the vibrations of each individual repeated slamming on this porthole to another place. Finally, you see the figure reach down and grab some sort of a massive maul from just somewhere beyond your sight, and rears back with the hammer and slams, creating this cascading, shattering noise that shatters through, and you can see there is a void now in the sides of the pillar. And stepping through the pillar is a creature of shifting rock and sand, clad in metal armor that surrounds different portions and joints, carrying a massive maul. None shall transgress on the Spire of Dawn. Roll initiative. Garish, 20? Garish.
That's not a bastard sword.
Mick. Bad guy. Shira. Garish, you have the initiative. This creature has just bashed through. You can see it holding a massive maul, which is even larger than Hordebreaker, in one of its hands, as it turns and begins to scan around the room with its eyeless face, clad in this heavy metal armor. A torrent of sand whipping it off the ground, sending small cascading eddies around it. What would you like to do?
I imagine it mostly has its eyes on Mech.
Yes.
How much movement would it take to hop down here?
You just make an acrobatics check or an athletics check, and it only costs the amount of movement you move.
I'm going to try to hop down here and then shout at it.
Yeah, you make it down with no problem. You land in the sand and continue your hustle forward. It turns its gaze towards you whenever you land in the sand near it. Anything else you'd like to do?
I'll prepare a dodge.
Okay, so you use your action to dodge. No problem. That will bring us to Meklaresh. It is your action.
Okay. I'm just gonna move my cat over here because my cat's not in combat.
That's
My
fine.
cat is safe in a pocket dimension.
Okay.
We're just gonna move over here for now. And I'm super assuming this guy is hostile.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
So,
safe to assume. Also, as you take your turn, you notice that the shards of obsidian that were shattered outward are now beginning to float back up and lock back into place on the Spire as it's kind of closing this portal.
Okay, for now, we're gonna cast Witch Bolt at level 1 at it.
Sure, you got a 19 to hit. So you rear back with your hand and you release this electric, this crackling blue line that connects and wraps around this creature, and you feel a surge of electricity fire through it, and you see it react. You see it take some damage.
Yay!
As you now have it tethered with your witch bolt. Anything else
And
you'd
I'm
like to do?
hoping it's not super fast. Nope, that's gonna be the end of my turn.
Okay, that'll bring us to its turn. Kind of hissing in a guttural, low growl towards the lightning chain that's wrapped around it. It turns its maul and sort of glides over towards Garish. There is this kind of crackling noise that crackles through it as it raises the maul up and swings it, and you can see this immense force behind the blow. So let's see. And you barely manage to sidestep it as it crashes down into the sand next to you, sending a shockwave of force forward that seems to crackle with a life of its own. It angrily spits towards you. That'll bring us to Shira's turn. She's gonna say, "What the fuck? What the fuck was that shit?" She's gonna run and she's gonna flip over this low wall here and get behind it and take a stab at it with her short sword. However, her short sword only glances off some of the steel plates that are next to it. What the fuck is this thing? Garish, it's your action.
Wonder if this thing could resist a grapple from me.
You can certainly try.
I'm just gonna swing with Void.
Sure, go ahead. Make your attack rolls. The first attack finds purchase and slides into this creature, severing off several bits of rock and sending a scattering of sand off to the side with your first swing. A good solid hit.
I would like to use a superiority dice to pushing attack.
Sure, go ahead. What is the saving throw? Strength, I believe.
Yes.
25. I assume that does not that saves, but it will take an extra 8 points of damage.
Nice.
As using the force behind the blow, you shove it with your shoulder. It does not move, but it does take the additional damage. You still have a second attack, I believe, for being level 5.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'll attack again.
Go for it. Another solid hit as you send more sand and stone scattering about. A very good round for you, I must say.
Just 36 damage.
And you still have your bonus action and your movement if there's anything else you'd like to do.
I will end my turn.
Okay, then bring us back to Mekhlaresh.
Are you muted?
She's probably muted. I take that to
I
be
was muted.
you fire. You send a surge of electricity through the lightning tether, and it will take more damage from that.
Yes. I use my action to channel more energy to the Witch Bolt.
Mm.
I'm just going to hold my position currently
Okay, no problem.
to maintain line of sight as much as possible.
It is going to use... At the end of your turn, it's going to use one of its legendary actions to use Whipping Sandstorm. Garish, could you make a strength saving throw for me, please?
Glad I got those goggles.
You're not wearing them, though.
Shira is okay.
Oh, I put them on before the fight.
Alright, you are knocked prone and moved 5 feet away from it, as a whipping sandstorm of violent winds begins to emerge around this creature, sending sand and dust in every direction. The force of the winds are so strong that you slide back along the sand. Luckily, you were wearing your goggles, so you're not blinded, but you are pushed back. And Shira kind of covers her face and her eyes and holds fast in her place. And that's going to bring us to its turn, and it's going to move to here. Shira will take an attack of opportunity and miss. And with its action, it is going to request aid. You see it take its hammer and... Oh, I forgot to roll for recharge. Okay. You see it take its hammer and take the flat head of its hammer and hit it on the ground once, twice, 3 times in quick succession. And suddenly, around the room, you see the sand beginning to shift in several locations. Here, here, and here. And that will be it for its turn. And that'll be Shira's turn. Oh, I didn't need to do that. Oh, damn it. I just want to get rid of the thing. What was that?
I should buy the Shira.
Yeah. She's going to move here. And... You watch as she raises her hand up and oh my god, a torrent of small beads of force fly out from her hand, and each one of them spins around the room for a moment as it strikes the creature. And she casts Magic Missile. Wow, that's some damage. Wow, Jesus Christ. Okay. And then she's going to turn and look back at Meclaresh, and your tether broke, Meclaresh, because it moved.
Yes, I was
moved
going to
out of
say, I was
range.
going to mention on my turn that I'm 30 feet away.
She's going to turn back to you and say, I hope you have a fucking plan! As the wind begins, as wind is like whipping around the room. Garish, it is your action.
I'm going to get up. What does that cost?
Half of your movement. As you stand up from prone, kind of dusting yourself off from the sand.
I'm gonna pull out my spade as I do that, and what does the forming sand look like?
It's right now. It's just a spinning vortex of sand in the spot that's slowly beginning to gather up into an almost humanoid-looking shape.
I'm just gonna take a big scoop and fling it up.
Okay, so what are you trying to do?
He's shoveling the sand.
You're going to try to disrupt whatever's happening.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and make an Arcana check. With an 18, using Void, you take and you sweep through, and you manage to disconnect whatever arcane tether is trying to be pulled together, and the sand slumps and falls in a pool to the ground.
Would that count as an attack?
Yeah, we'll say that was one of your attacks. You still have 15 feet of movement, an attack, and your bonus action.
I guess I'm gonna throw a javelin at it.
Sure, go ahead and make an attack roll as you reach back into your quiver of holding. I don't remember, quiver of the Huntsman, I think it was.
Yep.
And you draw a javelin and with all of your might, huck it against the wind, but the wind is too strong and it kind of flies off to the side, just barely missing the mark.
Where does it land?
It lands here, but is quickly swept over here by the wind as it's kind of spinning around the room.
And I'll move forward.
Okay. At the end of your turn, it's going to use its legendary action to use Blindness of the Sands. Meclaresh, make a dexterity saving throw for me, please. Until the end of your next turn, you are blinded, as you cannot see, as the sand suddenly whips up all around you, getting in your eyes, and you have to close them and wince at the pain of the sand stinging into your eyes.
Ooh.
But it is your action, Meclaresh. You are considered blind until the end of this turn. You're just like, shit, I need to see for all of my spells.
Hey, a lot of my spells, yes, a lot of them require seeing.
You can make out where it is, but any spells that require you to see the target, you cannot use.
Yes. There's a lot of blowing sand in this room.
Oh, it's a almost like a sandstorm-esque atmosphere where there's just sand and wind blowing in every direction.
Rock types have their special defense increased.
Mm-hmm.
Just measure something. Oh, wait, from me, please.
As a note, you are also 10 feet up at the moment.
Yes.
Also, because it's fun, I'm also going to impose difficult terrain penalties on you. Because trying to move blind is hard.
But what if I use a gust of wind? And make all the wind blow in one direction instead of this big swirling sandstorm.
Where is your line is from you to the creature?
Yes.
Are you...
And it should be just within 60 feet of me.
Okay, let me grab my tool. It is...
Because I'm 10 feet up, correct?
Yeah. Okay. Unfortunately, I think you're going to clip Garish with it because of the angle. I think Shira is okay, but I think Garish is going to get clipped by it. Each creature that starts its turn in the line must make a saving throw. Okay, so as you cast, the sand and wind is suddenly pushed in a singular direction out of your eyes and away from you, and you can see clearly once again as this fires this strong wind that kind of plumes outward into the back sides of the room, creating this giant air current in the middle of this horrifying sandstorm. And you are maintaining it, I believe?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a concentration.
Anything else you'd like to do?
I'm just gonna move one space over so I still have the wind blowing from me in this direction.
Yeah.
But I'm just a little further away from that shifting sand.
Okay. Not a problem.
How does that spell affect me?
At the beginning of your turn, since you are in the line, you have to make a strength saving throw or be pushed in that direction.
So I'm basically moving you to the creature.
Yeah.
Already off.
Okay, and that ends your turn?
Yes.
At the end of your turn, when it becomes becomes the end of his turn, these spires of sand materialize into hooded figures made out of sand. As they kind of these humanoid shapes kind of erupt and release this hissing noise as they finally take shape. This one is going to move here. This one is going to move here. Although the one next to you used its action to dash, so neither one of them will be able to attack this turn. As they kind of glide along, leaving a trail of sand in their wake as they kind of release this hissing noise as they move closer towards you. The large earthen creature will take its turn, and it needs to make a strength saving throw. What's your spell save DC?
15.
So it succeeds the saving throw, and it is going to roll to recharge. And it recharges, and it slides forward, pushing against the abrasivity of the wind, and goes and swings its snout at Garish with all of its might. It's that same kind of thunderous force laying behind the attack as well. A 20 to hit.
18 armor class.
Alright, let me double check my damage here, because I closed the thing. So go ahead and take 7 points of bludgeoning damage.
I'm going to parry.
And 14 points of thunder damage as the thunderous strike rings forth and crashes into you.
Will parry only affect the bludgeoning?
Correct, because it's split damage. But you can try to parry the first bit. Yeah, so you take 3 less points of damage. So take 4 bludgeoning and 14 thunder damage.
Okay, that's only my turn.
Yeah, it's on your turn. And it will end its turn there, because it only gets to make 1 of those attacks per turn. I'll bring us to Shira's turn. Shira is going to take notice of the figure sitting next to her. Is going to take a swipe with her short sword. And that will hit, actually. And she disperses the sand figure in a singular swipe, turns and looks back at you, Garish. We have a plan, right?
As a free action, I was going to shout, "The plan is fight!"
And she's going to kind of double back and get over towards this ledge, looking out for more of those sand figures, because she doesn't have a full view of the battlefield. And that'll bring us back to your turn, Garish.
I'm going to second wind.
You actually have to make a strength saving throw against my wind.
He can't be pushed right now.
Oh, he can't be pushed into
No.
the guy. Okay, I was worried about that.
Because he can, like, your thing only pushes one direction, and he has nowhere to go. Okay, so you get back 10 hit points from your second wind. As you kind of take a deep breath and energize yourself, feeling the blood pumping to your muscles, getting ready for your next strike.
And use more void swings.
Gotta make your attacks. The first attack goes wide as the kind of the wind at your back is you're unprepared for it as it kind of goes wide from your first swing. The second attack will hit for 9 points of slashing damage.
I would like to consume a charge of void.
Sure, what would you like to do with your charge? I believe when you hit, you can do necrotic or cold.
What does inflict winds do again?
That's a spell. You have to. That's separate.
Right.
That's
Okay.
separate. All the spells are separate. The on hit charges are you can either do extra cold or extra necrotic damage on a hit.
I'll do extra cold.
Cold damage. Cold damage. Okay, go ahead and roll your damage. Okay, 1 extra point of cold damage as you release a blast of white frost from the blade as it yields to your command. Bits and pieces of the stone freeze and are jagged, and then you see small bits of ice shatter through bits and pieces of the stone. It does not look to be particularly effective, but it did do damage. That's mainly not particularly effective because you rolled a 1.
Okay, that's my turn.
Okay. At the end of your turn, it is going to use its Sans ability again. So go ahead and make a strength saving throw for me, please. That is enough. The sands once again whip up and begin to swirl around in the area, and you hold your ground this time, prepared for the oncoming assault, and you are not blinded, and you are not pushed back.
I like to think my wind helped.
Mechlaresh, it is your turn.
Okay, so I'm going to, as a bonus action, change the direction my wind is facing to blow at the creature that's next to me.
Okay.
So it'll push it back at the start of its turn, hopefully.
Sure. No problem.
And hopefully restrict its movement, so it has to spend all of its, it has to dash up to me again.
Yeah, you did take notice these creatures are not incredibly fast.
Yes. And then we're going to cast Magic Missile. Oh, I forgot to do it as the spell. Oh well. Let me just
you need to
re-roll.
you need to completely redo that, because that is not the way that works.
No, I forgot to use the attack that we made that does it properly. That didn't work either.
That is still not right. Hold on.
We fixed that last time. I could have sworn.
Why is... Hold on.
Because it's supposed to be 3d4 plus 3d4.
Just go ahead and roll the 64 plus 3 if you're using it at first level. Well, we'll fix it later. I'm not sure how that broke again. That damn necklace.
Roll 20 update.
It could have been the roll.
Maybe.
Update. So you
Fair.
fire off a barrage of missiles, and as you do, your necklace seems to send shimmers of light towards them, and then spiral throughout the room and strike against this creature, doing a pretty solid hit of damage.
The plan is working. More damage.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to do?
No, I believe that will be my turn.
As a strength saving throw for your gust of wind, I believe.
Yes, and it's 18 or 15 spell save.
It does not succeed. So just
So it gets
push
blown
back
15.
15 feet. I need to roll for recharge. It does not recharge. It's thunderous blow. Alright, so the creature is going to use its movement to get back up to you, and is going to take
It does have to spend 2 feet of movement for every 1 foot moving into the wind.
Does it? Let me look. You are correct. So it does not get back to... no, it can dash. So yeah, it does get back in range of you, but does not get to attack because of your making it difficult. As it's kind of being blasted by this torrent of wind you're holding out with one hand, trying to hold this creature at bay. It does not quite get to make attacks against you yet. The large thunderous creature is going to make 2 maul swings at Garish. A 17 and a 22 to hit.
17 misses, 22 hits.
Okay. So with its maul, it swings back and smashes down to the ground. You narrowly dodge it, and then it sweeps upward in a strike and catches you slightly off guard. Yep. Go ahead and take 9 points of bludgeoning damage as it smashes you with the maul angrily as it goes. And that will bring us to Shira's turn. It's not going to disengage from you when you're right next to it. Shira is going to run along this ruined wall and make an acrobatics check to get up here, which she succeeds. She's going to use the rest of her movement to get here. Take a swipe at this guy who's attacking you.
Oh, I didn't see seed.
And she dispatches him in the torrent of wind.
I imagine he just sort of like loses his form and gets blown back
Yeah,
into
and
like
you
a
just
cloud
see,
of
yeah, exactly. Like cloud, just a cloud of sand blasted across the room from your kind of shockwave. All right, that will bring us back to. Actually, with her bonus action, she's going to kind of put a hand on your shoulder after she take care of it and said, "That one, bigger problem. Kill that." And you get a D6 inspiration dice
Oh, I have inspiration.
to use whenever you get roll a D20. Garish, it is your action.
Back on the attacks.
Go for it. A 17 just misses as you swing wide and catch pieces of its armor as your blade strikes off of it, sending a shower of sparks off to the side. Again, you just cannot penetrate this thing's armor. Now that it's grown aware of you and it has you in full focus, you just can't seem to strike it with any of your attacks.
I'm going to shout at it to surrender.
Alright. That's the end of your turn?
No. Does it respond to me shouting at it in common?
It does not.
Okay, then I'm going to action surge and attack 2 more times.
Go for it. You kind of yell at this creature and saying no recompense, no recourse. You just send a surge of adrenaline through your body and swing wildly at it with Void. A 25 will hit for 12 points of damage. You are beginning to see some wear and tear on this creature. But it is still up and moving. The second attack, however, does not hit. As once again you catch a piece of plate armor that you then rend off, but do no damage to the creature itself. But it's looking pretty hurt. At the end of your turn, it is going to once again use its legendary action to cast Request Aid. And there will be a sandstorm forming here, a sandstorm forming here, and a sandstorm forming here. In those spots. Meclaresh, it is your action.
Okay, I have just enough movement to get here.
Yep.
And that makes a straight line that doesn't intersect with Garish. This is very important because we're casting a lightning bolt.
Okay, go ahead and roll 8d6. Is that a dexterity saving throw?
It's a dex saving throw, yes.
Let me look at stat block. You rear back and throw a thunderous bolt of lightning. How would you like to do this? That
Okay.
was just enough damage. I mean, like, on the money enough damage.
Okay, so I'm gonna hold my hands up above my head and sort of like start conjuring the lightning bolt, and then primordial, I'm gonna shout, "I was told to come here!" And when I hear, I'm gonna unleash the lightning bolt, and I'm just like,
You unleash the
I want it to
lightning.
streak through its chest.
You unleash the lightning bolt and it strikes the metallic like breastplate of this creature, and it burrows in, and you can see glowing inside of it. The creature drops its maw as it kind of reaches its stony arms up towards it as the stones begin to slowly fall out of the arms as this creature slowly begins to fall apart, and there's a sudden burst of energy that just fires throughout the room as small shards of rock and bits of sand are skewed across the room, and the wind that was howling and whipping around slowly begins to die down, and the eddies of sand that were beginning to pool around the room disappear.
How's that for a thunderous blow?
There is a long pause, and everything seems calm. And the shifting of the runes is still climbing up the spire itself. Fucking hell! Wow, I'm glad I hired you guys. Holy shit, you're getting a bonus.
Oh, this is every day for us, it seems. Well, not every day, but often enough for it to not shock me anymore.
Weird.
Its weapon remained.
No, it also kind of broke apart. It was just made of loose stones that had been fused together into this massive rocky maul. Its weapon did not remain. However,
Slowly.
there are huge chunks of armor that have kind of fallen and slid out of place that are still there.
Some of the more metal
The
melted.
breastplate of it has a massive melted hole in the center, but the rest of it seems to be pretty serviceable.
I'm gonna start making my way down very slowly.
Shira just kind of like sits on the ledge and just like leans back and is like panting heavily and like picking sand out of her face and like shaking her hair trying to knock sand out of it.
Kirsch is just standing there, slowly leaving his combat trance.
Kind of letting the adrenaline slowly build out of you. But yeah, there's these shifting, glowing yellow runes that are slowly crawling up the sides of the pillar, almost like Matrix text.
How familiar is this to what I was expecting?
This is pretty on the money. This is similar, although with much more intensity. The lights from the runes are much brighter now than the one you went to before.
Okay. Yeah, I'm walking down very slowly, but like really slowly because I'm not watching where I'm going. I'm just reading
Yeah.
as much as I can.
It's very nonsensical as the words kind of scroll upwards as you get closer and closer to the spire, and when you get to about here at the bottom of the stairs, you feel a compulsion push into your mind. Do you resist? Like something
Do I-
otherworldly tries to push its way into you.
Do I sense it coming from the obelisk?
Yeah, it's coming from the obelisk.
I do not.
Mekleresh. We will get back to you in a moment. Garish. The adrenaline slowly leaving your system. You take a moment and glance over the shattered rocks in the mall and the creature that was around. You look around the room, making sure there are no more threats as you're still like the combat ready, the adrenaline still pumping through you. And you look over at the corner of your eye and you see Mekleresh and you turn and you look at her and she's just transfixed. Looking, staring at this thing. And she reaches back and she pulls her haversack and she sets it on the ground next to her. And she reaches inside. She's not looking at the haversack. She's just looking at the pillar. And she pulls out her spellbook, and you see pages of it kind of falling out. This mishmash of crazy writings that she's written throughout the years. All the things you only see in her spellbook a handful of times. Like in the mornings when the two of you wake up together and she's preparing her spells, and she takes it and she sits down on the ground, not breaking eyes at the pillar, and she begins writing frantically in her spellbook. Just crazily, faster than you've ever seen her hands move before, with such speed and intensity. And you get worried for her for a moment. You walk over to her and you're trying to figure out what the hell is she doing. And you look down and she's writing over other spells. She's writing over other things in her book just to get down this information that's suddenly flooding into her head. And her eyes are kind of locked and transfixed, and you can almost see like tears beginning to form down the sides of her cheeks as she's just transfixed and just writing crazily in this book. Would you like to do anything?
I'm just gonna kneel next to her.
1 minute goes by, 2 minutes goes by. Eventually, Shira kind of walks over, looking very confused at Mekleresh, just madly writing, and you see she spilled ink on the ground, and she's just taking her hand and dipping it in the ink and rubbing it on the page, and then carving out the different runes and symbols with her clean hand, and she's covered in ink and just covered in mess and sand and dust. And Mekleresh, you snap too. Your hands are covered in ink. your gaze finally broken. This force, whatever it was that flooded into your head, has finally left, and you find yourself sitting on the cold tile, just dirty, covered, and your spellbook just a mess. Just this spew of information that's been spread out through your spellbook. Mark off 100 gold of ink and vellum.
Are you muted
Okay.
again?
Okay,
There you
I'm
are.
glad I had a lot on me. Sorry, I was taken aback. That was a lot. I was gonna sort of like look around and be like, sorry about that.
Close your character sheet for a bit.
Okay.
I have some work I need to do here. But you guys can
It-
feel free to talk amongst yourselves while I work on this.
It is closed.
In the meantime, I'm gonna retrieve my javelin.
Not a problem. Easy enough for you to pick up.
I'm gonna like carefully set the pages apart and let them dry because I don't want them to stick together and press on the back of the other pages, and we're gonna try and arrange the book so it does that. And then I'm going to try and get as much ink off of my hands.
Make an Arcana check as you kind of look through this
I
kind
have my
of
character sheet closed.
right. Roll a d20 for me, and tell me what you
You'll
rolled
have to
because
add-
I'm somewhere else.
You'll have to-
I'll add it
I
manually.
can't. I can't look at my modifier.
I do not
Okay,
have
like
the panel
pictures.
open. So what did you roll on the dice?
It's an 8.
Looking at it, you have to like formulate and move the pages about to try to make method of this madness. As you take them and you like lie them out, you notice there's a pattern that emerges in between the pages, and as you set them out, it almost creates this giant sigil. And then you pull out another piece of paper that you had written on and smudged on with your hand, and that page is a different sigil. And you begin to slowly lay that out and try to make sense of these things, and you are putting them together, and you have are looking at it, and you're just very confused.
Imagine I'm taking up a lot of the tile space right now. I'm just like,
Yeah,
don't worry.
like you're laying out all these pages that are just covered in ink and sigils and writing and descriptions and primordial for gestures and like how you're supposed to like use things in tandem.
Sorry, this is gonna take me a second to get this all together.
So
Working through it.
what the hell was that?
I may have seen something similar to this before, but I can't tell you where because I'm sworn to secrecy.
Well, how exactly did you fix this?
Well, I originally learned magic from a stone like this, and on a chance encounter, I received that obsidian rock from a traveling merchant. And through some study and understanding, I became to know of the stone, translated the words on it, and it was leading me here, apparently. I guess this was my destination all along.
All right, you have my permission to open your character sheet back up.
Okay.
You should notice some new things.
Oh, probably.
Okay, so traveling merchant just happened to have a piece of the Spire of Dawn. What was the deal with the big rock, scary rock guy?
Well, him I'm not so sure about.
Okay. Interesting.
He was speaking in primordial. He warned us not to trespass, or that no one's allowed to trespass here. I tried to say I'm supposed to be here. He wasn't listening. He seemed to be very upset.
What are you telling me?
So, what do you know if someone's upset and trying to kill you? You gotta fight back.
Okay, well, holy shit. Let me just say. That was a lot. Second most dangerous ruin I've ever been in. Easily.
I'm gonna look at Garish and be like, this is like I don't know. Would you say this has jumped up to number one for us, or?
Might be close.
Well, I mean, I've seen an automaton attack some people. That was fun. They were an interesting group. Um, well then, how do we get out of here?
That is going to be the tricky bit, because unless we lasso the rope, uh, and climb back up that way, I don't know. We might have to try and find another way out, but we haven't really explored too much. I don't know if there is any other exits.
From what your friend looked around, I suppose not. Well, I suppose I'll try to grab the rope.
Let's see, did Bartholomew tell you any way out, or is this just
Brian?
Brian? Sorry.
Fuck no. Brian just told me that this thing was here. Hell, I didn't even believe him until we walked inside.
I'm gonna take another glance at the ceiling.
Looking at it, it looks more or less the same as before, although a lot of the ceiling is kind of cracked and broken now, even more so than it was before, but it looks like it's still structurally sound. Did you see your things there?
Sorry.
Mekleresh, did you see those things there?
Which things?
I would look in your spellbook, as there's some
Oh
new
yes, no,
things there.
I did. I'm slowly reading them. That's why I was distracted. I was like, what? What?
Yeah, as
No.
you're kind of looking over the sigils and glyphs, kind of piecing together what this magic might do.
New cantrip, escape canyon.
I've got a Hearthstone now, but you guys have to figure your own way out.
If an escape rope.
Well, I might have a way out, but unfortunately, I am out of spell slots of that level.
Well, if you need to rest, we can always stay here tonight. It seems safe enough, as long as there's no more, giant rock monsters.
Yeah, that's very much fair.
Besides, I'd like to study this some more before we leave.
Of course, of course. The room's still flowing up.
Yeah, they're still going.
Yeah.
Although they've dimmed somewhat.
All right, set up and make a camp.
As you're kind of, unrolling your sleeping bags and, getting ready, Shira starts a small fire with a bit of magic. In this little alcove that already had the little fire pit in it, and the sigils that have now been horribly disturbed, with all the wind and sand. As you're kind of like putting the sleeping bag down, Mekleresh, you keep seeing something like in your mind, like a mountain covered in snow. You're not sure what it means, but it keeps piquing your interest, and it's not your home, because your home wasn't snowy there, at least
Yeah.
not until the very spires of the mountain. But this one
So
is
this whole
is
mountain
covered
from-
like
okay.
like from the bottom all the way up to the top of this mountain, and this huge range of mountains to the sides of it, and an ocean beyond. And you keep seeing this vision kind of flicker and flash, and you close your eyes and you squint, and it kind of loses your grasp for a moment, and then you try to concentrate on it again, and you lose it. But in like the periphery of your mind, there is this vision of this snow-covered mountain.
Noted. I have a vague player idea of where to go, but we'll see if Mekleresh figures it out as fast as I did. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep that information to myself, and no one's asked me anything else, so yay.
So how long are the two of you staying in Crescent Ridge?
We aren't certain, actually. We'd only arrived to deliver that package to the mayor, and we just sort of find adventure everywhere we go.
Seems like you two are a fun sort.
Oh yeah, Garish is a barrel of laughs.
Clearly.
He's so talkative.
You know, I can't quite place my finger on it, but Garish, you look so familiar to me. Have we met before?
Gary's just gonna take a moment to study her.
She
Do I
doesn't
have
look.
to roll anything?
She doesn't look familiar to you. She looks like an elf, but you mean you've seen plenty of elves around, but she doesn't seem to stand out. She definitely has her features are a little off in certain places where she would stand out, but she doesn't look familiar.
Don't think so.
Hmm. I don't know. It's just the oddest feeling. Hmm. She kind of goes back to sketching the spire. Well, I mean, the two of you could always stick around here and help me out. I'm sure there's probably more mysterious caves throughout the entirety of the Scar.
I think this might be a one-of-a-kind cave. I mean, there certainly could be more mysteries to uncover, but I don't know if there's anything quite as grand as this.
But you said you've seen one of these pillars before. Did it look the same?
It was similar but different. This one, the one I saw, was square. Almost impossibly smooth.
This one's got jutting spires that fire out in all directions. Very curious. It's more cubic than that, garish, but
Yeah.
same idea. Hmm.
I'm gonna size up the remains of the armor.
I don't know if you have the means to magically transmit messages to others, but I have a few colleagues that can, and I could always do some research on these and see if I can't maybe ascertain the location more. Although most of the archaeological community has kind of excommunicated me for the most part, but I make discoveries from time to time.
I don't personally know of any way. I don't have any magics to send messages.
Hmm. Shame.
I don't have a lunar spellbook either.
Well, in any case, what are your plans for after Crescent Ridge? There's not a real whole lot going on in town.
We were originally headed to Guiding Light through Ravenswood, but we were called into this, as a favor for a misunderstanding that got cleared up from one of the nobles in the town.
If you see a balding, snobbish-looking man, punch him in the arm for me. That's Brian. I think he's still stationed up in Guiding Light for at least a few more months.
We will do. I'll say it's from you.
Appreciate that. Though I do suppose I owe him one. I never would have found this place without him.
I guess I owe him as well. I never would have found this place without him either. And I'll sort of slowly start tidying up my spell book from the ground, as I suppose it's probably dry at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are kind of making camp and getting ready for the evening. Well, sleep well. She kind of rolls over and pulls the sleeping bag tight around her.
I'm going to be using some of the sand to try and get ink off my hands for a while.
Yeah, they're still very blackened.
Yeah.
You're a mess. You're a mess. It's all over your clothes. But hey, you got some cool new toys.
Heck yeah.
But the night comes, and the three of you eventually find your way to sleep. Unless there's any more late night conversations you'd like to have.
So, Garish, how are you? I know we go through this sort of thing a lot, but it seems to be getting more and more frequent.
It was a good workout.
I suppose. Are you feeling okay? You took some pretty heavy hits there.
I have more than half my strength left, I'd say.
Oh, well, that's good. Hopefully nothing happens during the night, but this cave seems fairly secure unless you're the adventurous archaeological sort like us, it seems like, there's not much people in the way that come in here. Unless you're a rock being from another dimension, sort of laugh.
And then this night slowly falls upon the two of you. You find yourselves comfortable in a relatively cool interior to the hot sun baked sands outside. We can go ahead and end our game for tonight there.